A month before the 2020 election, the parent company of Dominion Voting Systems received $400 million in funding. This was shocking news, and I suspected there must be some significant clue to find out what was hidden behind this. First, I discovered that the three related parties to this transaction all exhibited strange behavior before and after the election. Staple Street Capital, a middle-market private equity firm, was founded on June 9, 2009 and purchased Dominion on July 16, 2018 for about $265 million. Shortly after the election on November 3rd, the company website underwent a full transformation. All information about the company's founders and investment portfolios were deleted. One can no longer find any relationship with Dominion from the website. Dominion Voting Systems. On the evening of November 19, 2020, the head of Dominion canceled at the last minute a planned appearance at the Pennsylvania House of Representatives hearing.
Instead of running towards a light of honesty and integrity, Dominion Voting Systems retreated to the darkness. Why are they hiding from us?
The next day, Dominion's product strategy and security director Eric Coomer went missing. His bio was deleted from the Dominion company website. The company's Canadian headquarters in Toronto suddenly closed, and the U.S. headquarters in Denver, Colorado also closed without notice. Coincidentally, when Dominion became a global focus after the election, over 100 employees, a third of the total workforce, erased their LinkedIn records, including Dominion's employees in Serbia. UBS Securities LLC. According to SEC filings, UBS Securities LLC arranged $400 million in investment to Staple Street Capital on October 8, 2020, less than a month before the election. This was the second time UBS Securities LLC had transacted with Staple Street. The first time was on December 19, 2014 in the amount of $200 million. We also discovered that there are two firms called UBS Securities in the world. One is registered in New York with an LLC suffix. The other is registered in Beijing with a co-Ltd suffix. UBS Beijing also recently undertook some very peculiar actions. On the morning of December 1st in the U.S., lawyer Lin Wood alleged on Twitter that China purchased Dominion Voting on October 8th for $400 million. On the previous day in China, UBS Beijing's board of directors saw 11 out of 14 members replaced. Was the large-scale replacement of board members at UBS Beijing a coincidence, or was there some kind of relationship? Making a sizable investment into the parent company of Dominion, which had a 40% market share in the U.S. electronic voting equipment space right before the election, suddenly propelled UBS NY into the focal point on social media. I took a deep dive into the corporate structure of UBS Securities LLC. The company's profile on Bloomberg shows that 3 out of the 4 board members are Chinese. Their names are Luo Cheng, Ye Xiang, and Mu Lina. Other than Luo Qiang, who has French nationality, the other 2 are Chinese nationals with very close ties to UBS Beijing. Based on public information, Luo Cheng is a banker who held senior executive positions at Citibank and Morgan Stanley. Between 2004 and 2012, he was the chief banking specialist at the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group. During that time, Luo also served on the board of UBS Beijing. Luo Qiang held board positions at both UBS NY and UBS Beijing. Ye Xiang has a very diverse background. Other than being a board member of UBS NY, he is also the managing director at Vision Gain Capital in Hong Kong, as well as a columnist for Caixin, a media company with deep ties to the CCP. At the same time, Ye is an independent board member of at least 6 other companies in China, and a supervisor of more than 8 Chinese companies. Before the sudden change in board members at UBS Beijing, Ye had been chairman of the board at UBS Beijing for over 10 years. In Hong Kong, Ye had been the senior consultant for chairman and CEO of Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission, an executive director of Bank of China International, a senior analyst at the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and secretary of foreign financial institutions at the People's Bank of China. Mu Lina is a 40-something finance undergraduate. Along with being on the board of UBS NY, she is also the director of wealth management funds and head of fund operations at UBS Beijing. Mu's background is shrouded in secrecy. Her photo cannot be found on the internet. It should be noted that Mu is an independent board member of 2 companies, Chongqing Three Gorges Water Conservancy and Electric Power Co. Ltd. and SureCam Corporation until September 7, 2020. SureCam Corporation's business includes Internet of Things, cloud computing, and big data. Its CEO, Pan Fan, was an employee at Huawei for 14 years. Similarly, SureCam's business focused on Internet and surveillance, and Internet and law enforcement. It participated in the construction of the 3-dimensional social security system, as well as the Skynet project, a video surveillance system, electronic fence, and other CCP digital totalitarian efforts. It can be said that Surecam is a miniature Huawei and an enabler of the CCP's digital totalitarian state. The three UBS NY board members, Luo Qiang, Yi Xiang, and Mu Lina, all held board or executive positions at UBS NY and UBS Beijing, either at different points in time or concurrently. There was a clear link between the two UBS securities companies. UBS Securities Co. Ltd., or UBS Beijing, was established under personal supervision by the current Vice President of China, Wang Qishan. According to the company's Chinese website, UBS Beijing was registered toward the end of 2006 as the first foreign-invested, exclusively managed, fully licensed securities firm in China. Based on the name, people often associate UBS Securities with the Swiss bank UBS. However, the company was actually a rebranding of the failed state-owned company Beijing Securities. Current UBS Beijing chairman, Chiang Yu-jun, presented during a 2017 interview that UBS Group received the full license of Beijing Securities with a 24.99% stake in UBS Beijing. Other stakeholders, including Beijing Guoxiang Asset Management with 33%, Guangdong Provincial Communications Group with 14.01%, China Guodian Capital Holding with 14%, and COFCO Group with 14%. Note that Beijing Guoxiang only had one shareholder, China Construction Bank. Under the care of Wang Qishan, UBS Group became the first foreign company to own a full securities operations license in China. UBS Beijing's business spanned securities underwriting, wealth management, private business, among others. UBS Beijing once executed IPOs for Bank of China, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, China Construction Bank, China Merchants Bank, China Minsheng Bank, and other banks. It can be said that UBS Beijing has a monopoly in China. When the CCP introduced new policies in 2018 to allow controlling stakes by foreign companies, UBS increased its stake in UBS Beijing to 51%. Yet the company continued to be under CCP control as the board and executives were all Chinese nationals even to this day. How close are the ties between UBS Beijing and the CCP? The backgrounds of two UBS Beijing executives could clarify this issue. Cheng Yi-sun, General Manager and Board Director of UBS Beijing. Cheng Yi-sun was an expert targeted in the CCP's Thousand Talents Plan, or TTP. A report on FX168.com describes Cheng and his wife, Xu Xiaohong, as special targets of the TTP. Cheng's uncle, Cheng Kai-jia, was the founder and architect of CCP nuclear experimentation and the recipient of the 2 bombs, 1 satellite medal. Cheng Yi-sun studied nuclear science at university and only changed professions after studying abroad. Xu Zhe, Board Director of UBS Beijing, Manager and Chairman of Capinfo Co. Ltd. Capinfo is viewed as the industry leader among Beijing's state-owned enterprises in the realm of e-government. Its partners include Huawei, ZTE, Unit 61019, and 61195, Science and Technology Exchange Center of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, the Chinese military, the Institute of Computer Technology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and others in the political legal system. Capinfo has multiple layers of partnerships with the military, intelligence, and political legal systems. It is a classic example of a military-civilian fusion enterprise. Add to that Mu Lina, with her background in Huawei Junior Surecam Corporation. One can only say that UBS Beijing is a highly integrated company of CCP military, intelligence, political legal, digital totalitarian, and financial oligarch forces. For a financial company like UBS Group, which has such close ties to the CCP and possibly part of the CCP's unrestricted warfare system, one can't help but wonder if this significant arrangement of investment by one of its subsidiaries was a typical transaction purely for profit, or if there were other motives involved.